know that moment when your child asks you something like, "Mom, what's for dinner?" And you feel that flash of irritation that makes absolutely no sense given the question. Or when you finally sit down after a long day and instead of feeling relief, you just don't feel anything. You're just empty and tired and like you have so much to do before you can actually rest. That's what running on empty actually feels like. And most of us are living there without even realizing it. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Maryam from Sisters Flourish, and I made this video because I've been in that place many more times than I would like to admit, and I had no idea what was happening or that it was okay to not be okay. So that's what I want to do for you today. Sign number one that you're running on empty is when you're scrolling instead of resting. Let's say you finally get a break. The kids are busy or they're sleeping or they're at school. You now have a few minutes to yourself, but instead of actually resting, you pick up your phone and then a whole hour goes by. And then when you put it down, you feel more tired, more guilty, all the things. I do this too, and I completely get it. The thing is, scrolling is not rest. When we are tired and we go and start scrolling, we're actually numbing whatever it is that we're feeling. And so there's a huge difference between those things. When you're resting, it fills you up. But then when you're scrolling, you're just getting more and more exhausted in a way. If this is you every single time that you get a few minutes to yourself, that could be a sign that your cup is empty and you're just reaching for the easiest thing available instead of what you actually need. Sign number two is you're snapping at the people that you love. Don't ask me how I know this, but let's say your kids ask you a simple question and you snap at them. Let's say your husband makes a comment and you're just feeling instant irritation. Or you're running late and everyone's moving too slowly and you can hear yourself being so short with them and you know that it's not really about them, but you just have nothing left. You're just not able to be patient. In my family, when we're running late and my kids can't find their shoes or they're just moving so slowly, I snap, but then I feel terrible because they're just being kids. It was never them, they're just being kids. And so I've been trying to understand this, and I get that when you're so depleted, your nervous system is just in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, your brain loses access to the part of your brain that's supposed to help you stay patient and calm and regulated. That's what happens when you've just been running on empty for too long and your body is just trying to get through the day. So if you've been like snapping at your kids and then feeling guilty and awful after it, don't cancel yourself. Just know that this happens when you are in survival mode, but there's inshallah things that we can do about it. Sign number three that you're running on empty is that your ibadah, your worship, feels empty. You're praying, but then it just feels like lip service, or you're just not connected. You don't feel connected. You're ticking the boxes, but it lacks that sweetness. There's no presence, there's no connection. And maybe this one is the hardest one to admit because it's heavy. Like, we feel shameful because it feels like we should be able to have that connection no matter what. But the thing is, it's hard to be present spiritually when you are running on empty. When you are in survival mode, it shows in your ibadah as well. And so this just means that you need to take care of yourself so that you can show up for Allah. I know that in the past, whenever I would hear about self-care, I would just be like, what? Self-care? But then now that I think about it, self-care is not selfish. And I'm sure we've heard that line before. When you take care of yourself, you're actually able to show up for so much more, including your worship. Sign number four is you don't remember the last time that you felt like yourself. This one is kind of sad. So if someone asked you right now, what do you do for fun? Would you have an answer for them? Or would you just look at them with a straight face because you genuinely cannot think of anything? If you feel like you've just disappeared under all the responsibilities and roles and expectations, that is a sign that you've been running on empty for a long time. You've now become so focused on keeping everyone else okay that you forgot what it's like to be okay your own self. And the scary part of this is that it happens so slowly. You don't even notice it until one day you're just like, okay, what is going on? Who am I? I don't even know who I am outside of these roles and responsibilities. Sign number 5 is that you're holding it together by a thread. You are functioning. You are getting through the days. But deep down, you know that you're one small thing away from losing it. I remember when my son was just 2 years old, I left a bowl of cereal on the kitchen counter and he somehow reached it and pulled it down. Don't forget, this was a 2-year-old. At that time, we were trying to rush out the house, like, get ready, put your shoes on, make sure you eat your food and things like that with him and his brother. And then when that happened, like when I just saw everything on the floor, I lost it. I yelled at him like he did it on purpose. I could not handle it. It felt like it was a personal attack. And the way that he looked at me afterwards, like I still remember that. It took me so long to understand that the fact that he had spilled stuff was not the issue. The issue was that I was running on empty for so long and it was like, again, hanging by a thread, just waiting for that one thing to happen and then I snap. And so when you're running on empty, it's really hard to give what you don't have. It's hard to be patient and to be kind and to be calm. And so this is something to keep in mind if you've been holding everything together by a thread. If any of these signs resonate, what I want to invite you to do is pick the one sign that made the most sense to you and ask yourself, what's one small thing that I could do this week to start refilling myself in that area? If it's the scrolling, for example, what's one thing that actually lets you rest that you can do instead? If it's the snapping, then ask yourself, what's one thing that you can delegate or ask for help with this week so you have a little more in your cup? If it's your worship, for example, ask yourself what's one small thing that you can do today with full presence. Even if it's just your adhkar, whatever it is, just make dua for it. Ask Allah to help you. Tell Allah that you're running on empty and you need His help to navigate. Now I want to ask you which one of these signs hit closest to home. I'm curious to know, so please let me know in the comments. And if you need more than just one small step, if you need accountability and a group of sisters that are working on all of this with you, that's what the 12-week dua challenge is for. You pick one area of your life that needs your attention the most right now, and for 12 weeks we show up for it together with dua and ihsan level action. The next cohort of the 12-week dua challenge opens in the summer, and inshallah I will leave the waitlist link in the description. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.